We can do it the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, I know. Just, I hope those up,
Yeah.
because we have a couple of details there. And I'm not sure why it's not working, it should be.
Is that on? It
Yes.
doesn't even look like it's on.
It is.
It is.
We double checked that. Aaron? So the switch was on, I was just wondering if maybe the power strip is off? Okay. All right.
For some reason, it's just not working. Then you're on the ATM and I want it.
Yeah.
We just, technical difficulties. We just wanted to see if we can, on the applications, we can put it up there so you can see what we're talking about. If there were many people on a particular application, you would want to see that. It looks like there's not a lot of people in opposition, so, but we do have some papers here that if somebody wants to see something, that we can hand it over. So if we need to do that, once we had this, it was the greatest thing in the world until it doesn't work. Yeah.
I keep the meeting too late. We'll just have to do it, I guess.
Okay.
Here's what it is.
Okay, we'll start the meeting with the Pledge Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as read.
We have a motion by Diane, a second. Second by Aaron. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Carried. We have a couple of items on the agenda. I wanted to know if there was anybody here on Sibylla application. Our board, they asked to be held over until April. We just have we'll move it towards the end. A little bit of discussion with the board members on the, yeah, I just, okay.
That's what you want to do?
Yeah, just I didn't want to tie up any time here.
Sure.
And Craftify Holdings, is there anybody here for that application? Okay, they again asked to postpone. So our first application is public hearing of Corey Wagner and Morgan Brenner regarding property located in the MT zoning
Do this one first, or-
I wanted to do it before that one.
Oh, okay, that's fine, you're.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Regarding property located in the MT zoning district at 91 Warwick Turnpike, Warwick, New York, 10990, and designated on the town tax map as Section 63, Block 2, Lot 1, for an area variance from the code 164-41N and 164-41C, 4 and F, for a proposed 8 by 11 covered porch addition to the front of a house approximately 76 feet from the front property line, where 100 feet from yard setback, for front yard setback is required with a pre-existing non-conforming 8.6-foot side yard where 75 side yard setback is required. Okay, if you want to come up and give the mailings and just tell us a little bit about the application.
Yeah, so we want to.
I'm sorry, your name, please?
Corey Wagner, homeowner. We want to put a, like front porch. Currently we have, there was, when we purchased the house, which was like built in the 1950s, it's stone cottage. There was a concrete steps that were there that were in super bad condition. So we by hand dismantled that and used them stuff for landscaping, and so we have a door to nowhere in the front of our house right now. So we would like to be able to put a small porch there so that we can be able to use that front door again. We're going to get it covered so that way it's a little bit more functional. And put in some steps. So we need our roof replaced, so we figured it was a good time to do it. So we have someone to do our roof and hopefully
Is it bigger than the original step? Is it bigger than the original concrete pad?
no, it's basically the exact same size. It's just that because the setback from the road is within, it's smaller than
Okay.
the mandated setback, but we're really matching to what was there previously.
So I'd just like to note for the record, according to the site plan that was submitted with the application, the current residential dwelling is identified as being 102.8 feet setback from the roadway, whereas there's a 100-foot setback that's generally required, but the addition of the front covered porch and the steps associated with it would be considered an extension of the dwelling closer to the roadway, and that's the reason for why a variance is necessary.
I just wanted to note to the other board members that our front yard setbacks were changed, originally 50 feet, then to 75, and then to 100 depending on the zone. So when we look at the character of the neighborhood and you're driving by, you'll notice that most of them are the same setbacks, which goes into the character of the neighborhood when we're looking at the 5 criteria. So does anybody have any questions before we open it up to the public?
She answered mine.
Okay. And is,
So I have a question. The trees are still there on the roadside?
Yeah, the trees are also. Yeah, and we're not gonna disturb any trees for the.
I also wanted to note for the record that because the property is adjacent to County Route 21, GML 239 referral was required, and the town received a response dated January 23, 2026, with a recommendation from county planning of a local determination with no further comment.
yes.
So we have these.
I'll ask him, was this the application where they did a long form for the environmental?
Maybe, I think so.
I think we might have,
Yeah,
because
yeah, I
there's a
think so.
stream that runs behind
Yep.
their house, so I think that we have to, but we're building towards the front.
Okay, that was actually my question, was why a long form? I didn't, we very seldom see the long form, that's,
I think, my husband did the paperwork, and I
Yep.
think when he went online, based
Okay.
on the lot that we're on, it
Okay.
was required, so, it kind of guided him to that process.
So the long form simply provides additional detail that wouldn't specifically be required, you know, with the initial application for preliminary review. The long form would only be required if we were to type the action as a Class 1 action. Then we would request that you prepare and submit a long form before the board could take action. But the fact that you provided more information than is necessary for preliminary review doesn't necessarily change anything.
Oh,
All right, which brings us to opening to the public. Is there anybody here that wants to address the application? Okay, we're going to leave the public hearing open and go through a few more.
The board needs to type the action under seeker. In reviewing the application, because it's a construction, expansion, or improvement of a residential dwelling, it constitutes a type 2 action under seeker section 617.5C, subsections 11 and 16. Would anyone care to make a motion typing the action as a type 2 action with no adverse environmental impact?
So moved.
Motion by Aaron, second by Bill. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Correct. Site visit, so as I talked about before, in that area, we keep having further and further setbacks. So when you look at it, the 75-foot mark setback is a little bit more common in that area. So,
I'm also familiar with that area and the house, that's why I was asking about the trees.
yeah, the one on, surprisingly though, is the proximity to the side yard setback, which we usually don't see in that area, but it does exist.
Yeah, so as noted in the published notice for this, there is a pre-existing non-conforming 8.6-foot side yard setback where a 75-foot side yard setback is required, but they're not asking to modify or change that side yard setback. It just exists as it is, and so I don't believe there's any action necessary on that regard for the ZBA. We're talking about the front yard setback here.
Okay. Anything else? Does anybody want to add anything? So we have the discussion, so I'll close the public hearing. This time we're going to go through our 5 criteria.
If you're ready to do so.
I am ready.
So in considering an area variance, the ZBA is required to consider 5 statutory criteria. The first one being, will an undesirable change be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby property be created by the granting the variance requested? The applicant states no for the reason given. Results will be of using standard methods of building materials found commonplace in the local area. Does the board agree with the applicant that this will not produce a undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties?
I agree.
Okay. And second question, can the benefit that the applicant seeks be achieved by some feasible method other than the variance? For the reasons stated, we're seeking to construct a front porch of reasonable size the applicant states no, that benefit cannot be sought by some feasible method other than the variance, and for the reasons stated, we're seeking to construct a front porch of reasonable size due to the home being within 500 feet of the county road. We require an area variance to complete any construction. Does the board agree with the applicant?
Yes.
Question 3, is your requested variance substantial? The applicant states no. and states, "Our small covered porch will be consistent with examples at nearby homes." Does the board agree with the applicant that the variance is not substantial?
I would agree.
I agree.
Question 4, will the proposed variance have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions of the neighborhood? And the answer given is the construction will restore functionality to the entrance of the home while adding curb appeal consistent with our neighboring properties. But they didn't check a box yes or no. Does the board feel that the proposed variance will have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions of the neighborhood or district?
No.
Question number 5, is the alleged difficulty self-created? The applicant states no. For the reason given, it's not reasonable to move the house.
Haven't heard that one before.
Does the board agree with the applicant that the alleged difficulty is not self-created?
It's always self-created.
It's self-created.
Someone care to make a motion granting or denying the variance as advertised?
I move that we grant the applicant as advertised.
Motion by Dan. Diane, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Aaron. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Bye-byes.
All right. So congratulations. We'll issue a written determination that'll be submitted through the planning department. You'll be notified directly when that determination is ready. Then you can take it to the building department to get the permit.
Okay, excellent.
Take about a week, give or take.
Okay, so we take that to the building department, then they give us the permit, and then
Correct.
when the weather agrees, we can.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda is public hearing of Vincent Corrado and Amber Lees regarding property located in the SM District at 76 Shore Ave, Greenwood Lake, New York, 10925, and designated on the town tax map as Section 77, Block 3, Lot 14, for area variances from Town Code 164-41A4 and 164-45.1 C3 and C6 for proposed expansion of a single-family dwelling with a reduced front yard setback from 17.3 feet from the deck to the front property line, where the front yard setback is 30 feet is required, and a side yard setback on each side of 0.5 feet and 9.2 where 27 is required. Okay, you're here. Do you have mailings? Okay. Okay. All right, if you could tell us just a little bit about the application first? Okay. before I open it up to the public, does anybody have any questions right now on the application?
Just for the record, in this particular case, GML 239 referral to the county is not needed because it's not within any of the proximity triggers that would require that.
Do you want to wait until after you open it for questions?
Well, I guess, we can
I'll
go either way,
wait.
okay,
I'll wait.
all right,
So, with respect to the environmental assessment form that was submitted, there was two nominal issues that I just wanted to address, and that was with respect to short form EAF number 12B, and is the proposed project site or any portion of it located in or adjacent to an area designated as sensitive for archaeological sites. The New York State Historic Preservation Office, SHPO, Archaeological Site Inventory, and the EAF form identifies yes. Are you familiar with the historic inventory in your neighborhood? Okay. So for those of you who, have deep interest in local history, a building at the end of Shore Avenue is called the Boulders, and it is registered on the National and State Historic Register, and it's also considered a Class 1 historic resource on the Town of Warwick. And so that's why that came up in your application. I'm familiar with it, so it's really a non-issue. I just wanted to explain for the benefit of the board, anybody else that may have any questions about it. That's what the relevant historic property is. It's a few doors down from you at the end of Shore Avenue. And for those who are really truly interested in history, it was the former house of J.P. Morgan. So, question number 15 on the EAF. Does the site of the proposed action contain any species of animal or associated habitats listed by the state or federal government as threatened or endangered? And the application states yes, identifying the bog turtle and the Indiana bat. So because there are these potential endangered species, prior to any excavation or construction or tree clearing, you're going to have the property evaluated to determine whether or not there's any bog turtles nesting on your property, and you would be precluded from doing any significant tree clearing of trees in excess of 18 inches in diameter at breast height between March 31st and October 15th, if I have the dates correctly.
Or the first. It's either October 1st or
I think so.
October 1st.
Okay. All right. So if you're not clearing any trees, then the Indiana bat is not an issue. You just need to make sure that you're not disturbing or destroying any bog turtle nests prior to construction. So I think you're here.
Okay. We're gonna open this up to the public. Is there anybody from the public that wants to address the application? Okay, we're gonna leave that open. And Diane, you had a question?
I did. I want to see the map again. She's not encroaching.
Right here?
Okay, what is that? That's what it is.
That's part
Okay,
of the deck to be removed. That is encroaching.
that's what I have.
Yes.
Okay. You, on the survey map, it shows a portion of the existing deck towards
The north.
your neighbor, towards the north. It's encroaching on somebody else's property.
Yeah, we found that out during this process, we wanted to
Okay.
know about that, there was all sorts of goes out, so we were gonna remove it, so there's nothing on it.
You are gonna remove it? Okay. The whole deck or just the part that's encroaching?
Yeah, and
Okay. I just wanted it on the record.
Yeah, so for clarity on the record, specifically what Diane was referring to, according to the proposed site plan, there is a section of the existing deck that extends 9 feet at maximum over the property line. The applicant is proposing to remove the entire encroaching portion of the deck and cut it back to within the property line. And the applicant has proposed on the site plan to have a 0.5 foot setback from the property line for the deck portion that's to remain along the edge of the north property line. Correct. If you're looking at the lake, it would be on the right side as the north side.
This is the one that we're,
Yeah, because that's really
Yep.
close.
yes.
Mark, we see that as a...
Yes.
It's a very crowded area down there, and most of the houses are old, or they're either being torn down and replaced or expanded and like that. I mean, I don't see a problem with this as long as that encroachment is taken care of.
So,
And I just want to know
Yep.
the encroachment on, I think you said it's the Mr. Joffrey's side, right?
the side was supposed to be Charlie.
Yeah.
There's like woods there.
Yeah, that's, so on that side of the property, I know the neighborhood well, there is no dwelling on that side, whereas you're the last house essentially on that side until you go like another couple hundred feet toward the historical. So it encroaches on the property line, but it's not like there's a home there.
Doesn't matter, it's still
I know.
encroaching, you know?
They said we would fix it, so
Yeah.
if there was a home there,
It,
it'd be different.
yeah. There'd probably be somebody here.
Maybe. Friendly neighborhood.
They rebought the house like that, and then, it wasn't until we were doing this that we saw all the lines in the house, so if that's what needs to be done.
I also wanted to point out an additional detail for the benefit of the board and the applicant and the public. With respect to the variances that would be necessary to be granted in this particular case, there's reference in the published notice to 164-45.1C3, and 1C3 is a requirement that for existing small residential lots that a minimum of 2 off-street parking spaces per dwelling unit be provided. And if you look at the site plan, the only parking area for this particular property, because of the natural topography of the ground on which it was built back in the 30s or 40s, whenever it was built, has a retaining wall that is just shy of the property line and very close to Shore Avenue, with sort of a curvature that creates a little bit of an inner cove that cars can be parked in, but it doesn't quite constitute officially the size or dimensions required for 2 off-street cars parking. And so that would be one of the variances that they would be requesting here under 164-45.1C3, is a variance from the requirement to have 2 off-street parking spaces, being that it's a pre-existing non-conforming dwelling that doesn't have available parking simply because of the steep topography and all of the boulders and rocks and so forth along that roadway. It kind of is what it is, but nonetheless, if we're gonna grant this, we would need to address that issue as well.
Now, those pavers there already? The pavers, are they there already currently?
The pavers, are we sorry, we're talking about behind the house or down?
Down by the road.
Yeah, we're at the park, we're at the park.
So there are pavers for the parking spot?
Yeah, we have our cars down there.
Those pavers have been there for years, I'm familiar with it
Yeah.
personally.
So, it's interesting in that, it exists, and as if a house would exist and they're not expanding, yet we are giving a variance for something that already exists that they're not changing.
Very good and valid point. In this particular case, I simply raised the issue in the event that it was deemed necessary for a new CO because they are expanding the number of bedrooms for this house. And that's the only reason I was addressing the issue.
Now we're expanding
The floor area, basically, yeah.
Oh, my apologies, that's right, because your original plan did expand the number of bedrooms, but your revised plan is just changing the location and sizes, correct? Okay, that's what it was a holdover from the original application.
Yeah, we have, our first plan was to add more bedrooms and go up, but we decided not to do that.
Gotcha. My apologies for the mix-up, because those comments were based on the original site plan that did add bedrooms.
So I guess my question would be that it does exist already.
Mhm.
We would give a variance. Can we avoid that and because my feeling is if we give a variance.
Nope, you're right, we don't have to specifically. It references the provision regarding parking, and the other portion of that is the side yard setbacks for an existing small lot. And that's where we get the figures of 27-foot both side yard setback and a 10-foot single side yard setback. That's in the table
Yes.
under code section 164-41.1C6. And so we can just simply omit the C3 variance, but otherwise consider the side yard setbacks and the front yard setback that they need.
Absolutely. Is everybody okay with that if you follow through? Because I just, there hasn't been any requests or changes in the parking. It exists the way that it is, and it's almost as if a house exists and they're not putting any additions on it. We're not giving any variances for it. So I just felt if we went the other way and we gave a variance, then in the future, because if we give a variance, it seems that we're allowing them the permission to park on the road. If that's how I'm looking at it, and I'd rather not go there. It exists, as everything else exists there, the way it is, and the character of the neighborhood. This isn't anything.
You're not changing it.
Yeah, we're not changing it, so, it's difficult in so many places as far as the variances. As soon as something's changed, the lots are small, the expansions, we understand, so, anyway, with his help, we're doing just fine, so, okay.
So, the zoning board also needs to discuss seeker and type B action, because it is the construction, repair, or expansion of a single-family dwelling. It does constitute type 2 action, exempt under seeker, under section 617.5C, subsections 11 and 17. Would anyone care to make a motion typing the action as a type 2 action with no adverse environmental impact?
So move.
Motion by Diane,
Second.
seconded by Bill. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
As we discussed, we know that several of us have seen the application, and especially Diane and Bill, so they know the property well. We talked about the removal of the existing deck, but having it to the property line a half foot. And we left that blank because before we give a variance, do we have any comment just on that deck on the one side, bringing it to a half foot of the property line?
That's what the applicant's proposing.
Okay. And, I mean, it's a substantial variance.
It's pre-existing though, we're advertising, they purchased the
mean,
whole pass-through, everything.
They're making it
And they're cutting it
more
back.
non-conforming,
Correct.
Yeah, they're trying to bring it back.
Less
'cause it was there-
non-conforming.
less
Less
non-conforming, sorry.
Yes. That's right.
It's pre-existing.
We know what you meant.
They purchased the whole thing.
Okay, so, just wanted to
I-
make
Have one question. What was, now you lost me, but go ahead. It'll come back.
Okay. On,
Yeah, I know what it was.
go ahead.
Do we have to put that in our motion that the deck will be removed from being encroaching?
I think by us just giving the variance to the half, a foot
It's
setback.
stating that's coming off?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I did actually include specifically because it would take action to modify it. You're not just granting something that's there, you're taking action to modify it.
So it would have
Because
to
it
be.
wouldn't otherwise qualify, and therefore I did make a recommendation here that one of the conditions for approval would be the removal of a portion of the existing deck, currently 9 feet over the north property line, such that the finished deck along the north property line has a side yard setback of blank feet for the board to determine.
Okay, so you're good with that, Diane?
I'm good with that.
Okay. The other part that you have on the septic system, we generally don't deal with that, especially, there's not gonna be any new bedrooms, but,
If there's no change in the number of bedrooms, then this is no longer applicable. Again, this was an issue that was identified when they were proposing to add 2 bedrooms initially on the original application.
okay, at this time, I wanna close the public hearing. And if, you wanna go through your criteria.
All right, so in considering an area variance, ZBA has to consider the 5 statutory criteria. Question number 1, will an undesirable change be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to the properties nearby be created by granting the variance requested? The applicant states no, and states that the corner of foundation will just cross over the line. And I'm not sure what that reference was to.
Oh, the setback you mean?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so you were referring to the foundation of the property just crossing the setback line on the front of the property, but the extension of the deck constitutes, for determination of your setback, an extension of the property itself, because it's attached to your house. And so it's considered an extension of the improvement that is there. And that's why we're giving you, or considering a larger setback, a smaller setback rather, is because the deck is what because it's attached to the house, it extends closer to the property line, and so we have to look at what is the distance between the property line and the front of your deck, not the foundation. So the applicant states that the application would not produce an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties if the variance is granted. Does the board agree with the applicant?
Yes.
Okay, question number 2. Can the benefit that the applicant seeks be achieved by some feasible method other than the variance? The applicant states no. For the reason given, they will change the floor plan, completing a small addition off the front of the house for more floor space. Does the board feel that the applicant can achieve by some feasible method the benefit that they seek other than the granting of a variance?
No. I agree with them.
You agree with the applicant?
Yep.
Yes.
Question 3, is the requested variance substantial? The applicant states no. Does the board agree with the applicant?
No.
Substantial.
Very. Nice try, though. Okay.
Question 4, will the proposed variance have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district? The applicant states no. Does the board agree with the applicant?
Yes. No.
Yes.
Question 5, is the alleged difficulty self-created? The applicant states no, and says there's no other reasonable option. Does the board agree with the applicant?
No.
No.
All right. So would someone care to make a motion granting or denying the variance as amended to remove any reference to Town Code Section 164-45.1C3 regarding the parking area, but otherwise as advertised?
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion? How do we vote?
Aye.
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 Good.
Okay. You'll receive a determination from the planning department in about 1 week, and you can bring that to your local building department and apply for whatever permit you need.
We're going to do a slight change on, for public hearing on the 5th on the agenda. We're going to just quickly go over another application. It's not for, it's not a public hearing. We just needed some input. We don't usually do this. We're calling it a work session, but should only take a few minutes just to clarify a few things. Okay, so, Akos Shinek? Okay.
So, Mr. Shinek, if you want to come up here, I have a copy here of the comments that were previously sent to you. The reason we didn't schedule for you for a public hearing, as noted in the comments, as well as the memo that you received, the request that you've made is you have a pre-existing carport that is approximately 23 feet long, and it straddles your property line, but extends beyond your property line into the right-of-way of Woods Road, which is a town-maintained road. It's a public right-of-way. The difficulty here is because it's a public right-of-way, the ZBA has no legal authority whatsoever to grant that variance to permit any encroachment into a public right-of-way. So as much as you know, whether they wanted to or not, they have no legal authority to grant the request that you're asking for is to leave it there. Your options essentially would be, and the reason we didn't have you schedule a public hearing is because we wouldn't know what kind of variance you would be looking for and where you would place it, because it can't stay where it's at. It has to be moved. So if you can move it completely inside your property line and then come back and ask for a small variance like the person that was just here before you, then the board could consider that. Or if you want to move it to the other side of your property or somewhere else on your property that works, then you decide where you want to put it and submit an amended application. And then when we can identify what variance you might need and where you want to place it on your property, then we can prepare a proper public notice. We'll issue that, and then you could hold a public hearing on that amended application.
How far is that?
I can't tell you that. The question that you have to address is, first and foremost, it can't extend into the public right-of-way. It has to be within your property, or it's never gonna be approved, okay? You have to basically determine what works for you, and then submit your request to the ZBA to see whether they will approve what you're requesting, depending on where you position it, and so forth and so on. So we can't tell you that if it's this many feet, then it's okay. You would have to identify where you want to put it, and then submit a request to the ZBA to see if it would be approved.
With,
Would he be able to talk to that building department, the building inspector about that? Do a site visit or something to tell him where, At least they'll
The
tell him
building
exactly.
inspector's still gonna tell them
Yeah, you
what
can't
the
have it on the
official
property.
setbacks are.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You know, he's gonna have a 30-foot setback, and he's got a property
You
line,
can't do it.
he's got a property line that's 23 feet.
Yeah, that's what you're asking, what the setback is, so,
Right, and
Yeah.
because it's a corner lot between Hill Road and Woods Road, you basically don't have a 30-foot setback anywhere on this property. So you would require a variance no matter where you put it. The question is, where can you put it on your property that makes sense for you, that it's accessible and works for you, but within your property lines, and then make your best argument to the ZBA about whether or not they should approve it. Okay? So,
Okay.
Mr. Shenick, just for clarity, are you requesting that the ZBA hold off on making any determination on your application until you can amend your site plan with a different location for this? So what you would do is figure out where you want to put it, and then come in and provide a revised site plan that shows where it would be located and what the distance is from the property lines. Please identify all of the distances from all of the adjacent property lines. Okay?
okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is public hearing of Bradley, Cleverly, and 642 Pine Island Holdings LLC regarding property located in the LB district at 642 County Route 1, Pine Island, New York, 10969, and designated on the town tax map as Section 14, Block 2, Lot 1, for multiple area variances from the Town Code 164-41N. 4, lot area, 2 acre minimum, 0.281 acres proposed. Lot width, 200 feet minimum, 170 proposed. Lot depth, 200 minimum, 60 feet proposed. Front yard setback, 40 feet minimum, 0 proposed. Side yard setback, 20 feet minimum, 3 proposed. Lot coverage, 35% max, 96% proposed. And possibly other under 164-46J 57, 60, 61, and 62 to be reviewed and determined. pre-existing non-conforming building, not to be moved or expanded, but reduced in footprint, but increased in gross floor area. Sounds like a lot.
Good evening.
Okay, the mailings, because you've gone to the planning board, so are there,
Yeah.
oh, you gave, okay. Was it,
Brad Cleveland from,
Good evening, I'm Brad Cleverly from MJS Engineering and Land Surveying, PC. And, as you stated, it does sound like a lot, but I just want to kind of go through what my applicant would like to do to improve this property. Essentially, all they're gonna do is, the existing building squares off. And so what they'll be doing is removing, the front of the building here, cutting off the corner, which actually would increase the front yard. And then the existing canopy actually goes into the right of way. So they'll bring the canopy back, bring it back into the lot. And so it would be a zero lot line here. But there was previously encroachment into like the technically right of way. And so along with that, the side yard is an existing non-conformance. The rear yard, which is located over here, there's no variance required there. And all the other state variances or non-conformances are pre-existing non-conforming on a small lot.
okay.
Okay, so, just a note for the record, for this application before the ZBA, no GML 239 referral was required because a response was previously received on the planning board application prior to the planning board referring this applicant to the ZBA for the consideration of these variances. And the Orange County Planning Board, the Orange County Planning Department's recommendation and response on the GML 239 referral specifically identified the general variances that are required with a recommendation of local determination with no other specific conditions.
With that said, does anybody, before we open up to the public, have any questions at this time?
I want to go over the EAF.
Okay, do you have the full map on this one? You know,
I'm sorry.
you don't have the large map, like he does.
I have it here if you need to see something. So I need to see. Yes. Him for more details, but from my understanding of the application, it's not really significantly changing the use. I'm sorry, it is, go ahead.
Go ahead.
One of the board members was just asking whether or not the proposal changes any of the proposed, any of the existing uses.
Yes, it does. Yes, it goes, the existing uses of the site are, right now, the existing is used as the Gulf gas station, Clover Mini Mart, and Pine Island Auto Motor Vehicle Repair Shop. And the replacement use is a motor vehicle service station with first floor, and storage, office, and coffee break room on the second. So essentially, they're getting rid of, it would be very similar, but they're getting rid of
So the proposed change in use is elimination of the repair shop aspect.
So the building that's there is staying and they're making the pumps an addition.
They're existing pumps.
They're existing.
Pumps were there.
Yep.
Pumps are there.
There was,
So it's gonna be, there's an existing canopy, which will be removed and replaced with a new canopy.
Okay.
This corner of the building will be removed to facilitate the reorientation of the gas pumps, better flow through the site,
Okay.
and then the gas pumps will be new gas pumps to go along with the canopy.
oh, here we go.
Yep.
This is the existing building here,
Yep.
and this shows the corner of the building that's being removed in order to make room for more gas pumps this way instead of the pumps solely being here with a canopy that extends over the property line into the right of way.
Over the property line.
Well, currently the canopy extends over, but what they're proposing is to pull it back to a 0-foot setback. So that only the corner of the canopy, because they're turning the canopy the other way to be in alignment with the
The
new
new
changed
square.
face of the building, and that way, the proposed canopy will be in alignment with the new cutaway front section of the building and on an angle to the corner to make it easier to put in 3 pumps and still stay within the property line. This is where the old pumps were, and
Yep.
this is where the new ones will be.
Anybody else with any questions? This is interesting, because I think it's only happened, once in, my lifetime, was the uses in, losing a use for what's existing, doesn't require anything from us in that it becomes more conforming. Did I say that close to being accurate?
Yeah.
They're not seeking anything, but they're actually losing, a use that they have that's grandfathered,
Correct.
and we can change uses as long as they are of, a more restrictive of nature. So, it's like I said, it's only happened once before on applications that I was familiar with. And again, it doesn't require a variance from us. I was, in seeing the application, I was confused. And not because of all of the setbacks and stuff, because it exists, but it was just on the uses.
Yes, and of course, the proposal is the motor vehicle service station is an acceptable use,
Yes.
a permitted use.
Okay, so.
Yeah, so, under the use table, this is, use number 50, motor vehicle service station is a, authorized by special use permit within the LB zone, which is where it's located, with, HH use group for the bulk tables, and that's what the references are with respect to the setbacks.
Yes, that one came before the ZBA, years ago, when there was an issue with the canopy.
And the
Too close to
sign.
the road.
And the
Yeah.
sign.
Yeah, yeah.
That
Try to
we're
remember.
dating ourselves.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
With respect to the short form EAF, there's a couple of issues that I just wanted to address with the applicant. Question number 12B is the project site or any portion of it located in or adjacent to an area designated as sensitive for archaeological sites on the New York State Historic Preservation Office SHPO Archaeological Site Inventory, and the application EEF form is checked yes. Are you aware of what the local SHPO
I
Historic?
have not gone into looking at, I figured this is such a small site, 100% disturbed, there's really not an issue.
It's been there forever.
Well, I can tell you, having looked at it, that right along County Route 6, there are numerous sites that have been identified by SHPO as potentially archaeologically sensitive because of the prehistoric character of that community. And so, you're absolutely right. I didn't see anything on that site that was identified, but just wanted to address that for the benefit of the board and the public. With respect to question 15 on the short form EAF, does the site of the proposed action contain any species of animal or associated habitats listed by the state or federal government as threatened or endangered? And the EAF form says yes, and it identifies short-eared owl and Indiana bat. So you're familiar with the Indiana bat regulations, no tree clearing. Do you plan on doing any tree clearing here?
There's no trees.
There you go. So,
It's April 1st to October 31st.
thank you. I couldn't remember it. I always get them mixed up.
We proceed to not freeze the trees that are not there during the specified time.
All right.
I think did you leave off at 17A?
Yes.
Okay.
17A, will the proposed action create stormwater discharge either from point or non-point sources? It says yes. If yes, 17A, will stormwater discharges flow to adjacent properties? It says yes. Please explain to the board.
Yes, right now the entire site is paved. It goes, flows out to the storm drains along the street. With this proposed work, we're actually going to decrease the impervious area, so it should be the same or somewhat less stormwater.
Okay, and 17B, will stormwater discharges be directed to established conveyance systems, runoff, and storm drains? And it says, if yes, briefly describe, and it states sheet flow to County Road number 1, stormwater drainage. Can you clarify for the board?
Yes, certainly it'll just flow, sheet flow, all the asphalt out to the road drainage. Not a residential catchment.
That's all I have.
I just, because it's gone to the planning board, do the planning boards look at the same, EAFs that we just went through?
Yes.
Okay. I just for my info when they come in again. All right, if nobody else has any questions, we can open it up to the public. Is there anybody from the public that wants to address the application? If not, we're gonna leave it open, and to see if we have any more.
So before we get into any other comments, the board needs to discuss seeker. This particular application being a proposed modification of a pre-existing non-conforming use, commercial character. It's just basically some reconstruction of an existing commercial facility. Does qualify as a type 2 action under seeker section 617.5C subsections 16 and 18. Would anyone care to make a motion typing the application as a type 2 action with no adverse environmental impact?
Motion by Diane,
Second.
second by Bill. All in favor? Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we'll close the public hearing, and we'll go through our 5 criteria. Did they reverse that? Did we go through the 5 criteria first,
We
and
did
then?
it already.
No, we didn't do
We
it on
didn't do
this
it
one.
on this one?
Yeah, no, we didn't do it yet. And we can, no, we do that after we close the public hearing. But
Okay.
before closing the public hearing, you skip 2 little notes just to determine whether or not anything is specifically necessary regarding whether or not a site inspection is deemed necessary.
Just in our discussion, I think everybody had seen it already, so
Right.
there wasn't a reason to go.
Years ago.
Yeah. Okay, so, I kinda assumed that one and I didn't bring it up. And then,
And the ZBA to consider any use restrictions or any other conditions to be imposed. But before you consider that, I did want to address one additional point. The published notice specifically referenced 4 sections, subsections of Town Code Section 16446J with respect to this particular special use application, special use permit application rather. And
we had 57, 60, 61, and 62.
correct. So I just wanted to identify for the record and for the benefit of the board and the public that 16446J covers site plan and special use permit approvals, special conditions and qualifications. These specific provisions apply to a motor vehicle service station under the use table, and specifically subsection 57 says entrance and exit driveways of motor vehicle service stations shall have an unrestricted width of not less than 12 feet and not more than 25 feet, and shall be located not nearer than 10 feet from any property line, and shall be laid out so as to avoid the necessity of any vehicle backing out across any public right-of-way. So, can you explain for the benefit of the board whether or not the orientation is going to require any vehicles backing out into the public right-of-way?
Simple answer is no. And also, this is going to be subject to getting a road work permit from the county. And so they will be reviewing at the county level, since these are both county roads, they will be looking at the end uses on the site as part of their review of the permit for the water connection. And everything has been laid out, so there's going to be no backing.
Okay.
But wouldn't the county had done the response when the application came to us and not had said local determination?
Well, the county identified setbacks, but they didn't identify, I think the county may have only looked at the bulk table
Yes.
and not at the 16446J requirements that are applicable to the proposed use.
Okay.
And so these are additional details in our town code beyond just the bulk table setbacks for side lot, side yard, front yard, backyard, lot area, and so forth that the county looked at. I didn't see any reference to these in the very detailed county planning department response that identified specific area variances, but there was no reference to that one and a few others that are in our site plan and special use permit requirements.
I guess the reason that I bring it up, because I just don't remember this happening before, is it possible that the county could nix the project?
It's extremely unlikely, because the project itself is under the jurisdiction of, of course, the Town of Warwick, the planning board, and the CPF. And then we need the road work permit, which we need to get from the Orange County Department of Public Works. So they'll also get to look at this because of the water crossing over the water connection, with the traffic control plan. So it goes to the OCPW as an outside agency.
Okay.
I got a question.
Yeah.
You keep mentioning special use permit. It's already a use. Why does it need to get another permit for special use if it's already a gas station?
I'm referencing 16446J, which covers conditions, special conditions that are applicable to particular uses identified in the use table for site plan and/or special use permit. And so when I'm referencing that section of the code, it would apply whether it's just a site plan, which appears to be what they're doing here, or a special use permit, or both. And so by my reference to that section of the code, I'm not specifically stating that they're
That's-
seeking a special
okay.
use permit, and we're not considering that because they don't need it.
Okay,
I'm just referencing a particular section of the
Section.
code that's applicable to site plans and special use permit approvals.
And I was under the assumption that I was gonna answer Diane's question. I was under the assumption that the planning board handles that on their end.
Correct.
They're seeking variances from us, but
Correct.
nothing to do with
With the
the
use.
special, yes.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, the planning board referred this application to the ZBA for the variances that the county had identified and the planning board had identified.
We're still learning. We're good.
Yeah.
Additionally, section 60 says the storage of gasoline or flammable oils in bulk shall be located fully underground and not nearer than 35 feet from any property line other than the street line. So can you identify whether or not the proposed location for underground storage of gasoline in bulk is going to be within 35 feet of any property line, other than the street line?
Just because of the size of the site, where the total gasoline tanks are here, in the front yard. Simply because the entire site is in the front yard.
Okay, well, you have two front yards, correct?
That's correct,
And so each one is associated with a street?
yes.
So then, am I correct to assume, so long as your location is more than 35 feet from the back property line, then you should be in compliance with that provision?
The back property line is certainly is, since this is the back property line over here. And we are going to be certainly more than 45 feet.
Any questions on that?
this is the
There's-
back? Or is this the back?
They're
Oh,
both.
I didn't see what he,
They're both backs.
They're both
They're
backs.
two back.
no, 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 you
There's
have,
two
Or
front,
sides.
This is side, the,
This is
the east
considered a
is
side?
and then the south is.
okay, so, yeah,
How far are you from
whether
the
it's the
side?
back or the side, is it within 35 feet of anything other than a front property line adjacent to a street?
Probably, it's about 35, just eyeball it. Yeah, just say it's okay. There's 20 foot here, that's another 15.
So,
if this
Are,
is,
yeah, so looking at, hang on one second, I just want to clarify, just so that we know what we're doing. Looking at, oh, come on. Sheet C1, sheet 1 of 4, it shows where the proposed gasoline tank is, along near County Route 6, and it identifies, hold on, let's see.
so it would be this property line.
This property line
Yeah.
here,
Okay,
that we need to determine that
Okay.
it's, you know, at least 35 feet from it.
I'd rather request the variance now than it ends up being 34. I'd rather get the variance.
That's why I'm
Yeah.
reviewing this carefully to see if there's anything else that we need to grant.
I mean, I hate to say it looks like it's more than 35 feet, but if it's not much. I'm just going because you have one measurement, you know.
So I want to see if I can find a comparable measurement here to use as a standard. So you have
So-
a 20-foot side yard setback line here, right?
You have a scale on the bottom map?
I was looking at,
Here's a scale on the map.
I was looking at this distance here, and if I were to take the
Okay.
40 feet and go from here, it would,
Yeah,
it would
if
be
you
40
can
feet.
use your scale on the map,
I understand it's very, not having a scale, I would think, I understand it's very high. I want to keep that variance in case it is a little bit less, not really bullet. For both front and side yard.
well, it doesn't require one for the front yard, believe it or not. According to this, it's only, because it's buried, it doesn't actually require a front yard because it's 35 feet from any property line other than the street line. And so it can be within 5 feet of the street line, that's fine.
And the
It-
way I look at it is like, this is all front yard here, no.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct. And so my only concern is, I guess, what you're calling the side yard, behind the building. Right?
That's it.
What's the scale? What is it, do we have a footage of this? We could use that as a scale.
Right, that's what I'm trying to look for. Like
Okay.
here we have 20, I'm trying to see if there's anything on here that's, like this one's 40 feet here, right?
I looked at this one, which is 40 feet from here to the building.
Yeah.
And if you went from 40 feet from here, that I would say that that's about 40 feet away from.
It, I mean, looking at it, it looks to me like it's over 35, but
Yeah.
I'm just trying to ascertain to the extent reasonable that that's sufficient.
Can you tell us what the size of this is? From here to here? From here to here?
I don't know.
There's no size there.
It might be on a different, they have several different maps here. It might be a different map.
The straight angle at, put your finger on the building, no, come down, down, across. That's, no, the other way, that way. That building side, the size, no, go back,
Yep, that one.
that one. Do you know the length of that,
Of the building,
of the building?
I'm not offhand, I'm just gonna say, if there's any doubt about it, I'd like to request the variance as part of this, because it's not gonna change the location of the tanks, they have to go there. I don't want them to get, can't move, so it's 34 feet from the sideline and go into variance, just doesn't make a lot of sense.
So are you utilizing the existing tanks that are in place? Or, okay, so then
So they're pre-existing.
wherever they are, they're pre-existing, whether they're conforming or not, they're pre-existing.
That helps.
Then we don't have to worry
That
about
ended
it because
that
it's
process.
pre-existing even if it's either conforming or it's not, but it's pre-existing and we're not putting in new.
Excellent.
Okay, great.
Could have started with that, I thought they were gonna be new.
I prepared this several months ago.
Okay.
Okay, subsection 61, no gasoline pumps shall be located nearer than 20 feet to any street line right of way. And your proposal, I believe, specifically has it at 20, where was it?
20 feet.
Yeah, 20-foot minimum. So there's no variance necessary there. Number 62, building permit for motor vehicle service station shall be, no building permit for motor vehicle service station shall be issued within a distance of 200 feet of any school, church, hospital, or other place of assembly. designed for occupancy by more than 50 persons or within 500 feet of another motor vehicle sales, service station, or repair garage. Said distance to be measured in a straight line between the nearest points of each of the lots or premises, regardless of the district where either premises is located. However, we have two long-standing pre-existing gas stations directly adjacent from each other on the same street, well within 500 feet. But because they're already pre-existing uses, you're not seeking to put something there that wasn't there before. Don't believe that we need to grant any variances there. Does the board agree?
Agree.
Okay. So the only question is question number 57, the first one that we addressed here, and that is a determination as to whether or not this board needs to grant any variance, because you're showing on your site plan, I'm assuming it's to scale, a 26-foot U-Haul within the bounds of the curb at the intersection of County Routes 1 and 6, but based on scale, it appears that the curb cut opening on County Route 1 is significantly longer than this 26-foot U-Haul, which would mean it would exceed the 25 feet maximum permissible under Section 57. Can you articulate what that distance is? Because it's my understanding that it would require a variance.
We're not changing it, it's pre-existing non-conforming.
That's exactly where it is, and there's no change to that?
No, no change.
Okay, never mind. Then that's fine.
Yeah, pre-existing non-conforming.
Okay.
No change proposed.
That's why the public statement, the public notice said may require, because there was additional details that I couldn't figure out just looking at this. All right, so we've covered all of those. Two are pre-existing non-conforming and the other two are compliant, right? Or three are pre-existing non-conforming, sorry. So there's no additional variance that would be needed under section 16446J, which specifically with respect to this application.
Okay, we can close the public hearing. The public hearing is closed. Does anybody any further discussion before we go through our 5 criteria? Okay.
Okay, so the applicant went above and beyond in responding to the 5 statutory criteria, addressing each one independently with respect to front yard on County Route number 1, Pine Island Turnpike, and front yard with respect to County Route number 6, Pulaski Highway, rear yard and side yard, which is the east side along 2 Pulaski Highway, and then both side yards. My recommendation, instead of going through all of these details, unless the board would like to go through each detail, you certainly speak up, please. But my recommendation would be that we consider the general 5 statutory criteria. If in fact we need to address something more specifically, then we can. But instead of going through all these, whatever, 4 or 5 pages of specifics with respect to each particular setback, which we appreciate the detail, but maybe ultimately unnecessary. Is the board okay with that?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So Regarding the 5 statutory criteria, question number 1, will an undesirable change be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties be created by the granting of the variance? The applicant states no. Does the board agree with the applicant?
Yes.
Yes, agreed, but just with a little bit of discussion in that everything that was presented to us, it is more conforming than what is there now. So,
Yep. Question number 2, will the benefit sought by the applicant, can the benefit sought by the applicant be achieved by some feasible method for the applicant to pursue other than an area variance? The applicant states no. Does the board agree with the applicant?
Yes.
Question number 3, is the requested area variance substantial? The applicant states no. Does the board agree with the applicant?
I agree with you.
Yes.
Bringing it back, so yes.
it's substantial.
Will the proposed variance have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district? The applicant states no. Does the board agree with the applicant?
Yeah.
Agreed.
And question 5, was the alleged difficulty self-created?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, and no, because it was kind of pre-existing, he's bringing it back.
Still
It's still
self-created.
self-created. It's, yeah.
So, striking out any reference to any variances to be requested under under Town Code Section 16446J that were not specifically identified in the public notice to begin with. Would anyone care to make a motion granting or denying the variance as amended?
I'll make a motion that we grant as amended.
Do we have a second?
We have a second by Bill.
Do we have any further discussion? If not, how do we vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
you'll have
Thank
your
you.
determination in about a week.
Excellent.
Before we, no, we'll keep recording. There were just a couple of things. The first one is for going forward to, and we'll say the winter, probably starting in November. What I'd like to do, because it's a legal announcement, is I want to have a snow day or a, thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Wasn't it decided that it would be, instead of canceling it the next day?
It would be the next day, but that's gonna have to be under a legal notice so people would know. Now, what I'm asking though for everybody is, I'm asking you, okay. It's just that knowing that there's a possibility or a meeting might be on Tuesday instead of Monday because of weather. I'm just asking that if we can try to make sure that our schedules are free. And I used myself as an example. I planned all my vacations around being here for the fourth Monday. That Tuesday, I'm apt to go to Maine. But knowing we're in the winter time, that I would try to, and again, have 5 of us show up. I mean, even if it's 4, if it's 3 and it's a quarter, the most important people too, really though, we need the secretary and we need legal
My
counsel.
question is, being that it's a public hearing and you're switching the dates, are we not required to notify people 72 hours previous to it by public notice and all the other things
I-
to follow the New York State Open Meetings Act?
So what could be done is, make it part during the winter months, make it part of the public notice that
Yeah.
is published that says,
Publish.
this is the
Yes,
date
yes.
unless town hall is closed
Yeah.
due to weather.
Publish that.
In such circumstance, it will be
Just so we're
Yeah.
covered.
the
those are
Tuesday.
things.
Yep.
And we would just have to add a provision in the public notice
'Cause
that
I know
gets
how, like, the Open
published
Meetings
and
Act
sent
works.
out and everything else,
My
yes.
goodness, Mia, if it's snowing, I'm not coming over that mountain.
Right. No, I
Just-
realize what you're saying, but what I was saying is that make sure that we're covered, because according to the Open Meetings Act, we are required to notify public of
Right.
the change. But what you're saying is, once we do this, say, November through February or March, these are subject to be the following business day.
Yeah.
Right,
If perhaps it falls on a holiday, we won't be here
Correct.
on a holiday. So it has to be the next business day.
Yeah, why don't you say business day, because
Yep.
if you don't, what if there's 2 snowstorms?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Then it's
or a
Wednesday.
holiday, or a holiday.
Yeah. Well, there's 2 holidays. No, they wouldn't fall on the 4th Monday then. In January is, Martin Luther King.
that's right.
And then President's, but that's not the end of the month.
So it's next following business day
Yeah.
of the town hall being open.
All right, so that would just, like you said, it's a small
It's
change,
fine
and
by me.
obviously, we're not doing
That's
it.
fine with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
The other one, Craftify, because we're wondering, you know, what's going on. We had discussion, I had discussion with the planning board. Their application was, yeah. So, their application, seemed to be, missing a few